We didn't need fireworks or cities made of dreams, just a couch, a well documentary, and the sound of someone you love breathing beside you. In the quietest places, love still echoes back. If this poem or tale stirred something in you, a memory, a dream, or a truth, our Ko-fi, Amazon, and Patreon links are in the description. Supports help us keep writing for you and for those you hold dear. Four hearts, one night, whale trivia, rise, and the kind of love that echoes back when you call it into the dark. This is the short story. We fell asleep watching documentaries. A quiet love worth echoing by Jesus Pacampara. Evenings like this were barely planned and yet somehow always perfect in their own fractured way. The lights were low, the floor strewn with mismatched socks, and the blanket that hadn't made it back to the closet since Thursday. Jess was still holding a bowl of rice like he hadn't decided whether to eat it or to reheat it, and Ween was seated sideways on the couch like it owed her an apology. The conversation had no real beginning. It simply bloomed out of fatigue, the way fog settles without asking permission. So Jess asked, sweeping his gaze across the room, "What's the plan tonight?" Young perked up immediately, raising her hand like they were back in school. "Galbijim," she declared. "Toboki and sushi." Jess chuckled. "That's 3 dinners." "Then let's celebrate," she said, dramatically stretching like she had been released from an exile of flavorless lettuce. "It's national holiday in my heart." Young Buell replied from the kitchen, where she was balancing a phone between her ear and shoulder. "You said that the same line last week when you ordered sundae and cake for breakfast." "It was my emotional birthday," Young said without shame. "I bought no food," Ween interjected, curled under 2 blankets like a human spring roll. "I want to watch documentaries on shipwrecks and sleep beside someone who won't kick me in the ribs." "That's definitely Buell," Jess smirked. Hey, Buell finally looked up. "I kick once to assert dominance." Young raised an eyebrow. "So you admit it." They bickered sweetly, like waves chasing the shore, never meaning to erode anything, just letting time pass more playfully. Then came the moment of decision. It was always hovered like a question no one wanted to answer too quickly. "So what's the sleeping arrangement?" Jess asked. Wayne pointed lazily. "I'm middle." "Middle of what?" Buell narrowed her eyes. "Middle of you two," she said, Jess and Young. "I'm the neutral zone." "I'm not sleeping near Buell again," Young chimed in. She narrates her dreams last time I woke up to, "Sir, the spaceship is ready." "I was a general in a galactic rebellion," Buell muttered proudly. "You're welcome." "Fine," Jess said, chuckling. "Young and I will be on the sides, Wayne and Buell in the middle. That way, if anyone kicks, it's diplomatic." Just as they were settling the line-up with the ridiculous pillow draft, Young claimed dibs on the softest one and Jess's hoodie. Buell's phone buzzed with a soft thrill. She glanced at the screen and said it's Yejin. Everyone stopped moving. Jess turned the volume down. Young soon paused mid-reach for her chopsticks. Wayne sat up a little straighter, suddenly more awake than before. "Put her on speaker," Jess said. "Unis," came Hedgen's voice, tiny but bright through the phone. "You're all together, aren't you?" "We miss you," Wayne said immediately, voice softer than anyone expected. "You're missing Young's culinary coup," Jess added. "And I almost got kicked out of the band," Buell chimed in, for kicking Jess off the bed. Laughter from the phone. Yejin's laugh always sounded like a bell 2 cities away, faint, familiar, and oddly comforting. I'm about to go on stage in Busan, Yejin said, but I wanted to say I love you. Young swallowed. Send us a photo later and be careful. Wear your tiger balm. I did, Yejin giggled. You're such a mom. And you're the only one not sleeping here, Win mumbled. So hurry up and finish your tour. I'll be back Sunday. Liar, Win said. I swear, Yejin replied. Swear it on Jesus' rice. That's sacred, Jess said, mock offended. More laughter than Yejin's voice dipped low. Get some rest, okay? You guys sound happy. They were not in the big broadcasted way, not in the ways that trended, but in the small things. In conversations about food they may never eat, in bickering over pillow positions, in the comfort of a group call before bedtime, in knowing who would lie beside you and who would think about when the lights went off. The call ended and the night resumed. Outside, the sky held still. Inside, four hearts arranged themselves gently under blankets, like puzzle pieces that always know where they belonged. And later, though none of them remembered how, it was Young who softly sang a lullaby under her breath, Buell who mumbled something about whales, Wheaton who smiled mid-sleep, arms wrapped around Jess like she was afraid the warmth might leave her. And Jess, he just stayed still, grateful, whole, and ready for whatever dream they all drifted into next. It was already 2 a.m. The screen had dimmed to black. The gentle flicker of ocean footage had long faded into that soft Netflix haze of silence where thumbnails loop in the background and ask if you're still watching, even when your heart is far too full to answer. The room was dark except for the pale blue halo from the TV and the low hum of the fan oscillating at the edge of the bed like a sentinel. Buell had curled first, half an hour into the whale migration scene, her arms wrapped around a red velvet pillow like it owed her a secret. She'd always claimed she wasn't the clingy type, but the way she breathed slower when she was near or someone told her a different story. She'd been the first to drift off, headphones sliding to her chin, her lips moving faintly as if whispering instructions to a dream she had authored. Young had gone next, soft, serene, her cheek nuzzled against Jess's shoulder, breath warm against his collarbone. There was a peace in her sleep that always made him ache. Not out of sadness, but of something deeper. The kind of ache when you feel or see something sacred and fleeting. Something you know you don't deserve, but protect anyway. And then there was Wheaton wide awake. Her eyes blinked slowly, like they were reluctant to close for too long. Not because she wasn't tired, she was. Her voice was hoarse from singing too much during rehearsal, and her shoulders sagged with exhaustion. But sleep, real sleep wouldn't come. Just noticed, he always did. He pulled the blanket higher around Buell, kissed Young's forehead gently as to not wake her, and shifted closer to Wheaton, lowering herself beside her as she kept her gaze fixed on the ceiling like it held answers. You ever think, she murmured, that maybe I built this life wrong? Just didn't respond right away. He let the silence breathe. Wheaton wasn't just asking for advice. Not really. She was reaching out, fishing for a voice to catch her before her thoughts sank too deep. She often wandered into these mental alleyways late at night, where the lights were dim and the air tasted like old fears. She had been thinking about the label again, her label. The weight of being its CEO, the faces she had to smile for, the lives she now led off stage, and that had nothing to do with music and everything to do with numbers, visions, bills, and making sure that the girls she once sang and that the future with, and her future, and theirs, and the art they loved. It's like I'm the boss. I'm the boss, right? She exhaled. But I can't tell if I'm free. Not a savior, not even a partner. Just someone who saw her, who saw the night for what it was. A moment to hold the pieces until they stopped shaking. You smile like the world doesn't scare you, he said softly, brushing a stray strand of hair from her cheek. But even the strongest voices need lullabies sometimes. That made her laugh, a short one, the kind that tasted like tired coffee and soft surrender. So he got up quietly, gently, moving through the room with the grace of someone who had tucked too many dreamers into too many beds. He brewed her a small cup of coffee, the decaf kind he reserved for nights like this, nights where the soul wanted warmth, not alertness. Then he opened the cabinet beside the shelf where they kept the old figurines and took a stuffed toy she once joked like a cross between a lion and a banana. She blinked in surprise when he returned. You kept this? You threw it at me during our first fight, he grinned. Of course I kept it. She accepted the toy like a truce offering, hugged it, sipped the coffee, and slowly she exhaled the tremble in her lungs. Tell me something, she whispered, finally curling into him. So he told her about Young, how she hummed lullabies in her sleep sometimes, and the reach for Jess, even in dreams, weren't enough to keep her warm. He told her about Buell, how she pretended to snore louder when she was embarrassed about crying, and how she always made space for everyone else before herself. He told her about Yejin, the glue of a group that had never truly broken, how her laughter still lingered in the kitchen even if she wasn't there. And then he tickled her, gently like a teasing breeze on bare skin. Wind squealed, half-heartedly swatting him away, her body finally surrendering to its need for rest. Laughter gave way to a sigh, and that sigh folded into stillness. He cradled her in one arm, keeping the lion banana plush close to her chest, and let the stillness wrap around them all. By the time 2 a.m. struck, the only sound in the room was her soft breathing and the quiet trivia she mumbled about whales migrating by moonlight. She had fallen asleep holding his hand. Jess didn't move, he didn't need to. He just smiled, eyes half-lidded, whispering one last thought into the room full of dreams. Sleep well, Win. Smile more tomorrow. I've got you. The morning came like forgiveness, slow, golden, patient. Outside, the light stretched its arms across the kitchen window, painting the tiles with pale window warmth. Somewhere above them, a bird sang too cheerfully for 7:46 a.m., but none of them complained. Not today. They were all barefoot, all still in pajamas, the kind of morning where nothing is urgent and everything matters. Buell was already at the stove, wearing an apron that said, "License to grill, obligated to pun." Her hair was tied up like a sprig of rebellious thyme, and she was stirring garlic rice with the flair of a man destined for dad jokes and culinary mischief. "Did you hear about the chef who died?" she said, not looking up. "He passed away." Young groaned immediately. "Uni, please." Young, Buell grinned, holding up a spatula like it was a mic. "Do not raise your voice at me." Win cackled so hard she nearly choked on a sip of warm tea. Jess patted her back gently as she whisked out a laugh and wiped her eyes. "I hate you," she said, laughing. "No, you don't," Buell replied. Jess was humming in the background, chopping tomatoes with the rhythm of a lullaby still caught in his chest. His voice broke into a full song halfway through breakfast prep, soft and warm like a thread weaving through all of them. "Don't worry about the thing, cause every little thing is gonna be alright." Young joined in next, singing backup harmonies as if this were a stage and she had nothing to prove but joy. She was leaning against the fridge, swaying, her hair like sun-drenched silk, a bottle of betadine mouthwash in hand. "Okay, seriously though," she said, serious this time. Everyone gurgled. No excuses. Win only. You too. Jess raised a brow. Is this the same girl who tried to mouthwash coffee thinking it was throat spray? I was tired, Young protested, bursting into laughter as she slapped Jess's arm. Besides, she added with a wink, you still kissed me afterwards. Jess said nothing. He just kissed her again, this time on the temple. Breakfast was loud and loving. There were trays of lechon kawali, braised pork with soy glaze, tomato egg stir fry, pickled mangoes, garlic rice with a pot of butter melting in the middle. And the plate was salted with eggs that only we seemed to enjoy. Can I marry the pork belly? Ween asked, lips glistening, eyes bright, because it understands me. You said that about the rice last week, Jess replied, and the eggplant the week before, Young added, sipping from her mug. I have layers, Ween said, stopping another forkful in her mouth, like an onion or Jess's old playlist. They all erupted. Later they returned to the living room, plates empty, limbs heavy with food and affection. The documentary about whales resumed where they left off. Slow motion footage of a humpback's fluke disappearing into the indigo water. Narration murmuring about the migration, memory in the deep. Young was half watching, half commentating, curled beside Jess with legs tucked under her. Oh, she said, grinning at the screen. Echolocation, deep ocean. Woo! She chanted like a dolphin in training. I am one with the sea. You're one with the nonsense, Bill muttered, tossing a pillow at her. But Ween didn't say anything first. She was already leaning into Jess, her cheek against his shoulder, her arms wrapped around him like it was the buoy that kept him from drifting. She murmured, eyes closed, thank you for not letting me spiral last night. Jess didn't answer with words. He pulled her closer. Outside the day continued. Inside everything was simple. No music playing, no mics, no spotlights. Just laughter, leftovers, whale songs in the background, and four souls who had no idea the world kept spinning so fast. Only that for now they didn't have to. Not while they had each other. They were still watching the whale documentary long after the credits had started to roll. The narration faded into soft music. Young was snuggled under a throw, Buell lying with one leg dangling off her couch, and Ween was curled against Jess's chest, head rising with the rhythm of his breath. Jess didn't speak at first, but the room was so full of peace that he wanted to give something back. Not food, not jokes, not even a song. Just something small, something he could leave in the silence between now and sleep. So he looked at them, his moon, his star, his song, and whispered, you know what echolocation really is? Young stirred. It's when whales or dolphins send out sounds to sense their surroundings. Right, just nodded. They call out into the ocean, not knowing if anything will answer. But if it echoes back even once, they know they're not alone. Buell peeked through one eye. That's only romantic for a sonar. Jess smiled faintly. It's how they find each other in the dark, miles apart, drifting through cold, endless water. But they keep calling, and they always remember the sound of the ones they love. Ween didn't speak, but she moved closer. Jess's voice lowered into something almost sacred. If you ever get lost in this life, in your mind, in the ache of the days that feel too heavy, just send out a sound, a laugh, a sob, a stupid dad joke, anything. He looked at each of them, heart full and overflowing, and I'll echo back always. Silence fell again, but not the kind of silence that is empty. It's the kind that listened, the kind that knew, in this house, in this heart, love never fades if it reverberates, like a sonar in the deep, like whales calling across oceans. like Jess calling home. This piece is dedicated to my dearest sunshine, Kim Yong-sun. Please show her your love and support on her channel, Solarcido. She's the heart behind so much of the light I share here. If you enjoy poems, short stories, and heartfelt journeys like this one, stay a while and see if any of my work resonates with you. I'd love for you to consider subscribing if you find a piece of your heart here. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what new story formats or poems you'd love to see. Your voice helps shape this growing storybook we're building here. Thank you for walking this world with me. Have a nice day.